and welcome to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno, and we are live on Family TV and also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. Thank you so much for making time this Tuesday evening, and we just get to understand and know more about what is making headlines in our country concerning the COVID-19 virus, where we are as a country globally, and also the steps and measures that are being put in place to make sure that at least we are prevented or protected as a country. The WhatsApp number to use and contact us from is 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316, and SMS is only 1 shilling, and on Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316. So let us get talking. Well, today, 9 more cases of COVID-19 have been reported in our country. And this was following a speech, an update that was given to the country by the CAS, that is the Chief Administrative Secretary, that is Mercy Mwangangi, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi. And the Ministry of Health has actually pointed out that in the last 24 hours, 9 more cases have been reported. And right now, what they're doing is that they are trying to contact and trace the contact person of these 9 people, bringing the total number of infected people in Kenya alone at 59. Yesterday we had 50, and in less than 24 hours actually we have 9 more cases. Let's listen into what Dr. Mercy Mwangangi had to say during that release, and then we'll be back to talk more.
In our various laboratories, out of the 234 samples, we have received confirmation of 9 people who have tested positive for coronavirus disease. This now brings the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Kenya to 59. Tracing of the contacts of the 59 confirmed cases is ongoing. So far, the total number of close contacts that we have so far been monitoring stands at 1,668. Out of this number, 508 have been discharged from contact follow-up process after completing the 14 days follow-up period.
Well, it is very clear that now the number has risen to 59, and according to the CAS from the Ministry of Health, he said that 1,668 contact persons had now been traced and have been put into quarantine to at least know whether they have been affected or not. And up to now, she has pointed out that 508 have been discharged after they have been observed and they showed no signs and symptoms of having the virus. They tested negative and were discharged. Out of this number, they are still tracing the relatives of these 9 cases that were traced today. And also she said something else about the country. She was very sincere that as a country, right now we do not have enough protective gears. Talking of masks, talking of gloves, as a country, we do not have enough protective gear to at least make sure that everyone is protected from the disease. Remember, it was pointed out earlier that a mask and a glove are some of the very few protective gears that can help curb the spread of COVID-19. But if we do not have this in our country, so what? What next? But she pointed out that as a government, they are now working to make sure that these protective gears are available in the country and to the common mwananchi, because as it is said, and yesterday the CS for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, pointed out that this disease is no longer international. It is a community virus. We are spreading it in our communities. That means Kenyans are passing it to Kenyans, and not as it was reported earlier where people came with the virus from other countries. Well, right now, they've also said that the government is working together with the county governments and the Ministry of Health to identify some of the schools that will be used as quarantine centers to make sure that these people, as they are being isolated to test whether they are positive or negative of the COVID-19 virus, they are safe. And it was pointed out that most and some of the schools and boarding schools in the counties will be used to quarantine these people. Well, let us hope for the best. And she pointed out that it is safe that we adhere to the measures that have been put in place by WHO, by the government, by the Ministry of Health to make sure that we curb the spread of these cases. Remember the WhatsApp number to use and join this discussion. Give me any update that you have, any information that can be helpful to the next person. The WhatsApp number is 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316, and on Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316. Before I go on, there's actually someone who's texted. Hi Sarah, how do you get home before the curfew now that your show is at 6 p.m? Well, it is the glory of the Lord, because yes, we are under the essential services. So yes, I will get home safe and sound. Don't you worry. And by the time I leave this studio, you are also informed of what is happening in our country. Talking of curfew, the Law Society of Kenya has actually taken to court now to challenge the curfew times from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. That was set by the government. The president himself stepped up last week and pointed out that starting Friday last week, we would be having a curfew in our country. And that curfew starts from 7 p.m. all the way to 5 a.m. And during this time, no one, and I mean no one, should be seen outside of their homes except for the 15 essential service category that were pointed out and gazetted clearly for everyone to see. Now, the Law Society of Kenya, and this was actually argued and put out by the president of the Law Society of Kenya, his name is Nelson Harvey, and he said it is unconstitutional. And apart from that, it infringes on the human rights. What did he mean when he said this? When police officers are using excess force to make sure that this curfew is implemented and forcefully telling people to go to their homes, clobbering people, that is what the Law Society of Kenya is against. And it is very clear, you know. He said the fine for not following and not obligating to this rule is up to 1,000 Kenya shillings. I know most of us even did not know this, but if you fail to adhere to this rule and regulation by the government, you are supposed to be charged 1,000 Kenya shillings. And if not that, it should not lead you to an imprisonment season of more than 3 months, maximum of 3 months, you know. And this is information that is not out there to the public. This is information that most Kenyans do not even know. So when they are captured by police officers, when they are arrested during this time and they are out, some have complained that they are forced to remove as much as 5,000 Kenya shillings to secure their freedom and just try and get home. With the tough economy, and this is an argument by LSK, what happens when people do not have this money? That is when they are subjected to being beaten by security officers exercising excessive force. And we have seen videos. Videos are there on the social media. The media platforms have been giving us videos, you know, and I'll use a case study of Mombasa where we clearly saw them piling people and forcing people to sleep in the ground. And they're saying this is not even adhering to the measures that have been put by the Ministry of Education. Talk of social distancing. This is against the rules by the government, by the ministry, and according to them, it is an infringement to human rights. In case this does not go through, whereby they challenge and remove the issue of curfew, then they are pushing that the curfew time be moved from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. That is an additional 3 hours for Kenyans to be settled in their homes, and not 7 a.m. And I have seen a lot of strain is coming with this 7 p.m. curfew, you know. And people are complaining. Some are saying it is not enough time. It is not the right time. Some are saying it is the right time. It is the right move. And today I want to know your view. Do you think this move by the Law Society of Kenya to challenge and completely remove the curfew that was imposed by the government is a right move? Do you think it is right for them to say that it should be pushed to 10 a.m.? Or are you in support of the curfew directive that was given by the government starting last Friday and up to date? And please note that we do not know when this curfew is going to end. So at the moment, we just stay in curfew. I want us to look at some of the complaints that were pointed out by different people from different parts of the country about this curfew. So listen up.
Municipal watupee nafasi kidogo tuuze tupate chakula ya watoto. Kwa maana tajana tu kufanya kazi watoto walilala njaa.
We have expiry of foodstuffs, expiry of some of the items that we have in our big shops. Because of this COVID-19 is that having a coffee at night and we thought that we are going to have our supermarkets, we operate tangu jioni mpaka asubuhi, ingetusaidia sana.
Singeona ni vizuri tuweke time ya kusema ya kwamba time ikuwe saa fulani saa moja na security wahakikishe pia wananchi wote wako salama mahali tunaishi.
Well, that guy pointed out that according to him, it is right. And I saw a video yesterday of a lady who was selling fish. I think this was in Nyanza province. And this lady was complaining that for the fish business, it's basically their peak hours. From 7 p.m. That is when they're selling fish. What happens to them? And she was actually just calling out to the government to extend this time. Now, this was picked up by the Law Society of Kenya. But again, someone would say, since this curfew was imposed in our country, people have been disciplined. People have been going home on time, you know. And as much as we do not want to admit it, Kenyans have been obeying this curfew. And those who've been caught on the wrong side of the law, sometimes it is not willing, but people have gone home. The majority of Kenyans have been home before 7 p.m. What do you think? Should the Law Society of Kenya go forward with challenging this directive by the government? Are you in support of the challenge, or are you in support of the government imposing this curfew to make sure that at least we curb the spread of COVID-19 in our country? 0786-316-316. That is on WhatsApp SMS line 20316. We are live on Family TV and also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm receiving a couple of responses. Hello, Sarah. I'm in support of the government. You did not give me your number, but thank you so much for tuning in. Your number ends with 103. Asante sana. I support the curfew and time frame. Changing from 7 to 10 will make Kenyans have time to socialize and spread COVID-19 virus. Asante sana for your response. And surely most of the people are in agreement with that, including my friend Lynette. Lynette, asante sana. I know this is hard for Kenyans. Our health comes first. Secondly, it calls for us to be smart on how we make money during the working hours. Lynette, thank you for that note. And indeed, we should be making money when we are supposed to be working, you know. And I had someone complain that, you know, if this curfew is not reduced, extended to 10 p.m., then Kenyans will finally lose money. And I did not understand that statement, because we have working hours, you know, and in a setting, an employer will tell you that 8 hours at least. So during this time, how can we make money? I know we will argue about the businesses and all that, but let us try as much as possible, as Lynette is saying, to make money during the time that we are supposed to be making money. Rennie Kipchirchir, thank you so much. Saying, I'm glad to hear from you on the topic of discussion. I do agree with the government directive that we need to follow and adhere to strict measures in order to curb and stop the spread of coronavirus pandemic. I support the curfew in Kenya from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. That is Remy. Thank you so much. We also have Legend Q, who is saying the curfew should go on so that we can be able to cope with this virus. We should just adhere to the government rule for a better tomorrow. I like that. For a better tomorrow. And you know, it's hard to sacrifice things at the moment right now, but when you look at the future, when you look at tomorrow, then this might be a bit easier. We have Alex Aliero. The curfew, as directed by the government, should stay at 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Other countries are on lockdown. Let's just support our government. Thank you so much, Alex, for that response. We have Peter from Nyeri. I fully support the curfew and the government. The LSK should sue the coronavirus, the real cause of all these problems. Your name is Peter, and this is a virus, Peter. Anyway, thank you so much for the response. Let's move on. Imagine this. Mama mboga pale sokoni. And right now, because of the curfew, by 6 something, the soko is being closed completely. And even before that, you know. So you are there. You are a mama mboga. You're trying to make sure that you beat the curfew time, and 6 something, you're already closing up on your business and trying so hard to make sure that you put everything in order while serving the last minute customers. And then you look back and you do not see your purse, your kibeti, where you put your money. What do? It's a tough time. You're supposed to be rushing home. Someone has stolen your money. It's a tough calling. You do not know whether to go to the police or just take in the loss of the day and go home to your children, because at 7 p.m. you do not want to be found outside. That is tiring, literally. Yeah, you know the way unachoka tu. Yeah. So this is what has been happening in different settings and different markets. Shops have been broken. People are taking advantage of the curfew to steal from other people, to steal from business people, as people are rushing home. And I remember on Friday, it was a swarm of people along Jogoo Road, Thika Road. People are walking, you know, and they're really rushing so that by 7 p.m. they're all in the house. Some individuals tend to take advantage of this period to steal from others. And this is very, very unlikely, you know. And police officers right now in Kisumu, and it's happening across the country, they're trying to hunt down people who stole firearms from Kibos police station. During this curfew time, as they are out on patrol, someone broke into the police station and stole firearms. This is just one of the examples. The mama mbogas are complaining. People are stealing from them. Shops are being broken. What is happening? This is a negative infringement to our businesses. Listen up.
Wezi nao wametake advantage. Wakati askari wanakuja tuambia tutoke, nao wanachukua. Kama kuna msichana alichukuliwa kibeti na pesa yake yote, alikuwa na 20,000 ikaenda. Kuna mfanyikazi mmoja wangu alipokuwa akienda kazini, alivamiwa, hakuelewa kama ni maaskari ama ni wezi. Akaweza kunyang'anywa simu.
Atuachie tu tuuse penye tunausanga, ndio tupate hata hanga ya kulea watoto yetu. Tuko na watoto na wameanza kulala njaa. Ukiweka chini anakuja anapepa.
Maafisa wetu ama county commissioner aweze kudumisha upande ya security, kwa sababu tunaona watu wanaanza kuporwa. Kama tunaambiwa mtu ende nyumbani, unakuta mizigo tena inaibiwa. Hatujui ni nani wanaibia, wale hata kwa soko watu wanaibiwa, hata na kupora wale watu wengine. Tunaomba tu security kwa hali ya juu, kwa sababu tunaona hiyo ndio itaweza tuweza kutuweka uhuru katika hii mambo ya curfew.
Well, someone would argue this is the duties and the responsibility here of the security officers to make sure that security is established in these markets, in these business premises. But let me tell you, security starts with you and me. These guys are the same ones who are supposed to be taking care and making sure that everyone is at home at that time. When we have individuals taking advantage of this time to make women cry, to make people suffer because everything that they have toiled for the whole day has now gone and disappeared. That is very unfortunate. And again, it calls on the discipline of us as Kenyans. You know, where are our discipline rates? Everyone is in need at this time. Everyone needs that money. The economy is not very good. What are we doing about that? Security officers are on the curfew side this time. So just take care of your belongings. Please, just let us behave, you know? Let us behave. That is where I'll leave that. And we have a Reni Kipchirchir who is also adding, I know this is a challenge, or it's a challenge right now, but it's for our own good. If we stay home and the curfew time, this is about the curfew time, If we don't do this, we won't be able to stop the spread as we stay at home and do social distancing. This has definitely become a new norm. Yes, it is a new norm. And as we are adopting to the new norm, please make sure that you behave. Do not take that 100 shilling from someone. Do not snatch their phones. These people need these things for the next day. So let us behave. Let us be our brother's keeper. As we said yesterday, we can only do this together. But if you're putting someone else in a place where they are at a setback, it is not fair. Anyway, talking of businesses, can you imagine that 60% of businesses have negatively been affected by the COVID-19 virus? And that is only in Kenya. 60%. And this means 6 out of every 10 business in our country has been affected. And 4 out of these 10 have counted losses of up to 1 million Kenya shillings. From the lowest level of business to the highest, 60%. 6 have been affected, and right now they're counting losses. And out of these 10, 4 have lost up to 1 million Kenya shillings. Have you been to a restaurant lately? They will tell you, and this is a directive by the government, you cannot sit in that restaurant and eat your food. You're only allowed to do takeaways. Walk into, let's take for instance, you're doing an online business or you have a shop right now. And then because of the curfew, you used to operate until 10 p.m. before you go home. And right now you have to close by 4 so that you are in your house by 7 p.m. So that means it's an extra about 5 hours that has been deducted from your normal working hours. That means losses to your business. And it is sad because losses in the business, losses recorded by people, even the very small minor businesses, affects the economy of our country greatly. But what do? We have to adhere to these rules. Because of these viruses, we do not have mitumbas being imported, the second-hand clothes. They're not being imported into our country. We do not have some merchandises and people who import their goods from other countries. That cannot be done because this is a pandemic that has affected. It has cut across the whole world, from the manufacturers to the sellers to the buyers. The economy is not the same. And right now, businesses have been affected. Let's listen into what some of the business persons from the hotel industry had to say about this.
We're sitting here on the 30th of March with virtually no guests. What we would have liked to see a bit more was incentives to businesses just like us to ensure that we keep staff more or less on the payroll, because I'm sending away 200 staff members today to a complete uncertainty. They don't know where they're going. Many of them are from up country. They cannot travel. They will have to stay around. They'll have no salaries for the next 60 days. And it's a tough situation.
Serikali county, serikali kuu napaswa kuweza kufikiria ni vipi kwa njia haraka sana tunaweza kuhakikisha kwamba tunamdhibiti huyu Mkenya ambaye ataathirika kwa njia moja kwa moja kutokana na haya maradhi katika kipindi hiki kigumu.
Toka corona ikuje tumekuwa affected kifedha, tumekuja affected kikazi, mambo ya accommodation imekuwa very low.
Saa hii kazi iko chini, si kama hapo mbeleni. Sasa hivi tunaweka mayai kidogo. Ya saa 10 saa 12 ikifika tukue tumefunga. Saa hii ni kama tumekata tu nusu, tulikuwa tunauza 6, saa hii tunaweka 3.
Watoto iko njaa kwa manyumba. Kwa maana hii biashara anategemea. Kwa siku naweza kuuza samaki 2. Naenda na ndora fare ndio hiyo. Chakula kifika kwa nyumba, watoto wanataka kukula chakula kuna. Sasa iko na shida kabisa, iko na shida. Iko na pressure mingi kwa hii biashara.
Mimi nilikuwa nafungwa saa 4 na ninafunga saa 4 usiku. Kwa saa hizi tunafungua saa 12 asubuhi ama saa 1 na by 6 tumetoka. Jumali tunaenda pia ni mbali.
Well, clearly a lot of people have been affected, and we have had a case study of someone who sells mayai, you know, eggs and smokies. And their business has literally been cut into half. From selling 6 trays, now they have to sell 2. That is a negative effect, cutting across from the big business people all the way to the very common one, hapa chini, you know, and it is affecting. So what should we do about this? We're just calling and being hopeful that these cases are going to be reduced. But again, we said it's a matter of you and me. We can help cap this thing. How can we do that? Washing our hands, social distancing, staying at home when the government says we should stay at home. And everyone else is in support with me, of course, that the curfew time should be maintained and observed as a country. Think about that. We are live on Family TV and also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. Thank you so much for making time for This Is the Day with me, Sarah Otieno. We really appreciate you for that. You can contact us. You can always call us. You can text us on WhatsApp and SMS line 0786 316 316. That is on WhatsApp. SMS line 20316. And SMS is only 1 shilling. So we are a family. We are a community. We always like to hear from you. And Ochieng Kisero kutoka Kisumu, he's saying the curfew should be defined in terms of how long it will last. There is no problem with the 7 p.m. and the 5 a.m. curfew. I like that. Thank you so much. Na usalimie watu wa Kisumu Dala. They're the ones, most of the people, the fish vendors from Kisumu are the ones who are complaining about the curfew issue. But let us hope that we will just take this in and know that it is for our own benefit. Sarah Naivasha is also asking, sometimes it is challenging to understand how this quarantine or isolation thing is done. I wish the government could break it down to us very clearly. And if you feel like you have symptoms, then what is the way forward to go? And we covered this a little bit earlier in one of the shows last week. And according to the government, if you have symptoms, and please remember they are flu-like symptoms, and this has been said by the medics, by the Ministry of Health, flu-like symptoms, you know, and they are saying that you can be isolated for 14 days, and if you test positive, then you start on the medication. But if you are negative within the 14 days, then you can be released. And please note that we already have people who've actually recovered from COVID-19 in our country, so that is good news. More information, if you want to know more information about any COVID-19 cases, you can always visit the website from the Ministry of Health or even the WHO, which there they give the update as it goes, as the time is, and they will always give you the safety measures that you can put in place to at least curb and stop the spread of COVID-19, including washing your hands for 20 seconds, isolation, yes, if you're having any signs and symptoms, social distancing, and if possible, and if maybe you feel like you've been affected, using the protective gears. And that, are some of the protective ways that we can use. But now I want us to go to the UK kidogo. So last Friday, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson tested positive of COVID-19. And today, he came out in a video to say that, yes, I have tested positive and I am in isolation. Yes, and he's taking care of himself and he is not interacting with people, not the government, not his family members, because these are some of the directives that have been given by the Ministry of Health, by WHO, isolation, and he is adhering to that. Listen in.
Hi folks, I want to bring you up to speed with something that's happening today, which is that I've developed mild symptoms of the coronavirus, that's to say a temperature and a persistent cough. And on the advice of the Chief Medical Officer, I've taken a test that has come out positive. So I am working from home, I'm self-isolating, and that's entirely the right thing to do, but be in no doubt that I can continue, thanks to the wizardry of modern technology, to communicate with all my top team to lead the national fight back against coronavirus. And I want to thank everybody who's involved. I want to thank, of course, above all, our amazing NHS staff. It was very moving last night to join in that national clap for the NHS. But it's not just the NHS, it's our police, our social care workers, teachers, everybody who works in schools, DWP staff. An amazing national effort by the public services, but also by every member of the British public who's volunteering. Incredible response. 600,000 people have volunteered to take part in a great national effort to protect people from the consequences of coronavirus. I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody who's working to keep our country going through this epidemic. And we will get through it. And the way we're going to get through it is, of course, by applying the measures that you'll have heard so much about.
Well, and from the video, you can clearly tell that this is a video that was taken by his phone. So no camera persons. And he is working from home. He is isolating himself because he does not want to spread this virus to other people. And he also pointed out something very important: being there for each other. And he said, and I quote, "There really is a thing as society." How people have come together in that country to help each other, to help stop and curb the spread of COVID-19. That is what he is doing, and he pointed out. And you know what? This is very different from what his predecessor, Margaret Thatcher, said at some point back, that there is no such thing as society. For the Prime Minister, Britain Prime Minister Boris Johnson, there is a society. And he pointed out that people came together to help as a country. Those who could provide services came together. The police officers. And you know what? We can apply that. We can be our brother's keeper. We can be there for each other, and we can be a society even at this trying time. You know, and yesterday I gave out an example of some tomatoes, and you have tomatoes in your fridge, and someone texted me after the show saying that I had tomatoes and I gave out, and that was beautiful. You have these things in your house the next door neighbor does not have. Help them. You could not be there to provide the services. Maybe you're not a doctor, you're not a pharmacist. You cannot help when it comes to medical issues, but you can help this person get to the next day and the next. Let us just be our brother's keeper. Let us come together as a community. Again, someone said that this pandemic has united the whole world. Now we are speaking the same language. How about we also be there for one another? It will be a good move. Let us live as a society. Let us be there for one another. Because yes, this is how we're going to beat this thing. And talking of the UK and being there for one another, the government, through the ministry, warned that the elderly persons are the most affected. And he actually pointed out, and this is Mutahi Kagwe, the CS for Health, he said that people are exposing our very own parents, our very own grandparents. How are we doing that? We move where we are in a place and maybe we've been exposed to the virus, and then you go say hi to your grandparent, hug them. You know, we all love our grandparents' love. You know, you see your grandmother, you want to hug them. You've moved from Nairobi to your up country, maybe in an aim of preventing this COVID-19. But where you have come from, maybe you have gotten in contact with the virus. And when we expose this virus to our elderly persons, then that is how they get exposed. And it's very sad that most of the people who are dying right now of COVID-19 virus are the elderly people. So we need to be on the lookout for them. And it was said very clearly by the Israel Minister of Defense. His name is Naftali Bennett. And he said the only way and the wise way that we can curb the spread of COVID-19 is by separating the young from the old. Listen to his wise words, and I call them wise because you will know the reason very shortly. But yes, listen to him.
Shalom. My name is Naftali Bennett, and I'm Minister of Defense of the State of Israel. I want to share with you the single most important insight of the entire corona epidemic. The most important thing, more than general social distancing, more than testing, more than anything else, is to separate old people from younger people. The single most lethal combination is when grandma hugs her grandson. Why is that? Because corona is a unique virus in the sense that it's way more lethal for old people than for young people. In many countries, zero young people died. Countries that many people died, you have 0% or 0.1% of folks under the age of 30 or 20, whereas old people over the age of 80 and 70, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 7 of them that get the virus die. So what we need to do over the next period of time is take care of grandma and grandpa, but from far away. Lots of WhatsApps and Skype and you name it. Bring them food, clean the box before you leave, and then they take it in their house. But do not enter the house, do not hug them, because you're risking them. Finally, people ask me, so will the old people have to be isolated forever? The answer is no. What will happen over the next few months, gradually the rest of the population, want it or not, the rest of the population is going to get the coronavirus. The overwhelming majority of people that will get the coronavirus won't even know it. It'll take 3 or 4 weeks. They won't know they have the virus, and by the end of those 4 weeks, they'll be immune. It'll start with 0.1%, 1%, 5%, 20%. When it reaches just about 60, 70% of the population that will be immune, the epidemic is over, and then grandma and grandpa can come out. It might take a month, it might take 2 or 3 months, it might take a bit more, but that's the plan. Good luck, take care of grandma and grandpa, don't get near them.
I like the final word. Take care of grandma and grandpa, don't get near them. And he pointed out very clearly. And his example was clear. You know the way you want to take groceries to your grandma and your grandpa, and you put them outside the door, and then you wipe them. So you have to clean the box. So that means if you have come with any sort of virus, including coronavirus, then when you start, what do we call it? When you clean the boxes, then that way you prevent your grandma and your grandpa from getting the virus. Do not get in touch with them. The hugs, the grandson hugs, we need to prevent them at the moment. We all need to take these precautions because we all love our parents, don't we? We all love our grandparents. So if we want to protect them, then maybe these are some of the strategic plans that we should put in place. All right, right now, United States of America is leading when it comes to cases that have been confirmed positive of COVID-19. They stand at 164,719. Those are the positive cases. And it's the leading in the world. Yes, and very many strategies have been put in place to prevent the spread of this virus across the country, including the US. But right now there is a new development because there is a test kit that has been put out by, and it was confirmed today by the president himself, Donald Trump. And he said this kit can give the results in as less as 5 minutes. 5 minutes. The test kits are there. But with this one, in 5 minutes, you have the results. Doesn't matter where you're testing from. Could be the doctor's office, could be the pharmacist. And he actually pointed out that they will be circulated starting the 1st of April. That is tomorrow. In the United States, they are picking up this new device that will test and give the results of every patient about COVID-19 in less than 5 minutes. Listen to the President, Donald Trump.
We reached a historic milestone in our war against the coronavirus. Over 1 million Americans have now been tested, more than any other country by far, not even close, and tested accurately. In the days ahead, we're going to go even faster, and we have something from Abbott Labs, which is right here, and that's a 5-minute test, highly accurate. And I maybe can show that as we listen to our FDA Commissioner, the job he's done and the approval process.
I'm very proud of FDA's staff's work in the last few months to expedite the availability of testing in this country. I'm also incredibly appreciative of private industry's ingenuity and willingness to work with us quickly to develop and distribute those tests. We've had a substantial addition to testing with the authorization of point-of-care tests, especially the Abbott point-of-care test, which the President has pulled out of the box. A point-of-care test is a test that gives you a result where you're getting care. This is truly a patient-centered approach, whether it's the doctor's office, a hospital, an emergency room, an urgent care center, or a drive-by testing site. Just like tests for flu or strep, where you go to the doctor so you get the test done, you can get an answer within minutes of having this test done. Now, with those tests being approved for Abbott and for others, these are available around the country. They're planning to scale up the number of tests that can be put out throughout the country over the next month, and patients can get the answer within as little as 15 to 5 minutes. And then, of course, an appropriate plan of
that
treatment
was
can be
clear
given.
from the president himself that this, and thus in charge of the health ministry in the US, they said that this testing kit can actually be used anywhere in your in your pharmacy, whenever you have a doctor's appointment, and that is good news, you know. And if we have test kits that can reveal the test and provide the results in just 5 minutes, and I am praying so hard that this will actually be adopted in our country and actually be used in our country, because right now the one reason as to why the cases delayed, or rather take long to be identified and tested positive or negative, is because we do not have the very, very exact testing kits that can be used. And with one that can give the results in 5 minutes, that is good news. Yes, because we will now know the total number and help prevent more spread of this virus. And talking of the US, the New York governor, his name is Andrew Cuomo, he actually came out to say that one of the reasons as to why they're so much insisting on social distancing, isolation, is because they want to cap these numbers. He pointed out that right now the numbers could be low. But what about tomorrow? How about we think of tomorrow and the day after tomorrow? We're just taking care of ourselves for now. Thinking about the future, that is one way of curbing the spread of COVID-19. And especially in their country, the United States of America right now stands at number 1 in the total numbers of people that have been confirmed to be having COVID-19. And this is what the governor of New York had to say.
It is a fundamental blunder to only prepare for today. That's why, in some ways, we are where we are. We've been behind this virus from day one. You have the scientists and the data projections showing you a curve. The curve goes like this. You're over here. Prepare for the high point of the curve and do it now. When are you going to do it? The night before?
When are you going to do it? The night before? That will be too late. Prepare for the highest point of the curve. And this does not only apply for the US. It also applies for us as Kenyans. And how are we preparing for the highest point of this curve? By making sure that you take in all the regulations and rules that have been put by the ministry, by the government. Curfew, washing your hands, social distancing, protecting yourself and your children, disinfecting your surfaces. This is how we are preparing for the highest point of the curve. And we cannot wait for the last minute, the night before, the day before, and clearly no one knows when the day before will be. So we just need to be prepared as early as now. Be prepared. Take care of yourself. Do not just do things for the sake of doing them. Do not go out past 7 because you want to know what the security officers are doing. You want to know what will happen just in case I am arrested. No, no, no. Do not. And above all, please be informed. Be informed of the numbers. Be informed of the protective measures that we can put in place to avoid such cases from escalating. Inform your children. Inform them of the ways that they can help to stop the spread of COVID-19. Tell them how to wash their hands. Tell them the truth, And I guessed in one of the shows last week but one, when the first cases were being reported in our country, she said that most parents, we want to protect our children. So for that reason, we will lie to them about this virus. That is not true. And she cautioned that we cannot do this because our children are also Kenyans, and they're also very much prone to this disease. They are prone to getting the virus. So as much as they are informed, they will protect themselves. When you're not there to protect them, when you're working before the 7 p.m. curfew, will protect your children. You have to teach them on the ways. Explain to them why they're not going out to play, why they have to stay indoors, why they have to take a balanced meal, because all these are the ways that we can protect ourselves. These are some of the ways that we can prepare for the highest point in that curve. And we do not want to reach there. So how about we take measures today? Thank you so much for tuning in to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno, and I will see you tomorrow.